Today we are going to discuss an agent-based model that simulates interactions in water service delivery. This model is grounded in empirical research by Transparency International Kenya and the Ghana Integrity Initiative. It explores the dynamics between key actors in water service delivery, such as, principals and agents who engage in various games that represent different social dilemmas. The model helps to understand the impact of, transparency, accountability, participation, and social costs and decision making in this area. Before we start the questions, could you please introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you very much. I think that is a nice introduction. I couldn't do it better. Okay, my name is Francesc Bellaubi. This is part of a model that I did. This model I did as a part of my PhD research, something like 8 years ago. And I'm coming from the field from social geoscience, more specifically earth science, and land use planning and vulnerability risk analysis.
To begin, could you describe the main objective of your model and what you hope to accomplish, by developing this simulation?
Mainly as a research question, was a lot of discussion as a part of this empirical research in Transparency International, which is an international organization working in anti-corruption. There was a lot of discussion how in the water sector, governance, management, and corruption relate in performance of service delivery. So we had we have the rent-seeking theory that explains, wants to explain or puts the relation in saying, let's say rent-seeking will decrease in terms of how we bring incentives into the sector. But this theory doesn't explain the complicated relationships in between these three components. So I was trying to bring a bit of clarity coming from a empirical research on case studies and try to model them. To model them as doing comparative aggregation. The meaning, which I think that is important and is key in the research. We were doing with a number of teams, of research teams in the field, a number of case studies. And basically, case studies approach means that you are building and developing further the research at the same time that you are getting the nuances of the knowledge of what's going on in the field. So you build and you compare. So you aggregate a number of case studies at the same time that you are comparing differences. So that was very interesting. And on this basis, I developed the model.
Creating a model like this might present some unique difficulties. What were the primary challenges you encountered during the development of this model?
Well, the main challenge was all this bunch of empirical data, how we bring them into a model. I remember that is increasing a large amount of literature about corruption, and at that time was not so many attempts to model the complicated relationships between corruption, because the first question is why these things happens, because economic interest, social interest. What is the reason? We have a number of we can have a number of rules and regulations in place, but still this phenomenon occurs. So that was the first main challenge is if you don't have a clear hypothesis and theory about corruption, it's going to be very difficult to model. Then the second point is most of the models that I encounter from the economic or econometric field was using game theory. So that, to me, it seems a quite approach, but most of the game theory has been in laboratories, sociological experiments. So I was not so happy with this. So then it came to the third point, how to bring the empirical research from the field, what we encounter and that was extremely challenging because we had a semi-quantitative interviews. And we wanted to run a model which gives numbers at the end. and you have this semi-quantitative or sometimes qualitative at all results from the case studies and from the field, and then you want to measure impact on performance, which basically is benchmark indicators. So you have, this is the coverage, this is the reliability of the system, this is the income of the systems. So it was quite difficult to try to find a method that works per analogy in saying, okay, we are going to invent something that gives us payoffs. Okay, and these payoffs we compare with performance of the systems. I don't know if I made myself clear, but was the only way, but was not a direct relationship. There is not a formula that I could apply far beyond to get in something like that. So it was a kind, and that is one, I think that one of the challenge, but also one of the beauties of how I try to sort it out.
Let's shift to the findings. What are the major insights or, lessons that emerge from analyzing the results of this model?
What I found is I was expecting to have more kind of interaction, but my two models built on this case studies aggregation in Ghana and Kenya, they had only few actors, 5, 6, representing the different levels of water service delivery, regulation, policy making, and users or consumers. So, and they were playing games of cooperation, defection, and here I was expecting more variability in how the game will evolve and the changing of payoffs. So the question was, it was a very broad, a very first approach to that. So it really, that was let's say a finding and say that more actors should be probably involved in this kind of gaming. More users, more consumers, to reflect some kind of pressure on policy making, for example. The second is that I was able to find, by comparing the comparison, this relation between payoffs, low payoffs, they match with low performance in water service delivery, but not in terms of quantitative numbers. So I have 5 and I have 5 on water service delivery. That was not possible, as I already explained. That was some time bringing to the point to discuss rent-seeking theory, and because we were explaining a bit how management it works. We have this component of control, but this component of rules and regulations in management. That was also quite some interesting. I would say, just to come to an end with this point, that an interesting approach that at that time I couldn't find too much literature was to couple system dynamics with agent-based modeling. Why? Because agents, they take decisions, but the system could be, let's say, portrayed or reflected or modeled in terms of system dynamics, and on the results, the agents, they play different games, and I think that possibly was something interesting to explore, but at that time, the research was coming to an end. After looking through the years, this is more and more common, using this kind of special analysis with GIS, agent-based modeling, and other kinds of simulation. I think that this is great.
Since this model is available on ComSys.net, can you discuss, the hurdles you faced when making it available to the broader community through this platform, the ComSys.net platform?
Oh, I think that was the easiest part, because I think that I have a number of downloads, which is very great. So some people were interested for this kind of thing. This is, I thank all of them. But no, because actually what I follow the ODD protocol, which was, at the very beginning was a bit hard, and after make my life much, much easier. So this kind of protocol, and that is something that I really like about agent-based modeling, because when going to other kinds of modeling is a bit okay, it goes in all directions. So I found this structure pretty much easy and easy to share, and after to clarify ideas and to put it on the platform.
In terms of the next steps of the model development, I mean, what's next in terms of research or practical application of this work? Have you applied this, I mean, practically, or I mean, are there any follow-up projects or expansion in this pipeline?
The model itself was complicated in how to scale up, and the level of amount of programming. That's why, well, we know that is one of the things with I think that other people might agree or not with agent. I mean, programming wise, it's very time consuming. You need a lot of data. Then what I'm just right now pursuing my research right now. I'm still working on dilemmas, on geoethical dilemmas that I call, especially related to geo-risk and geo-governance, geo-resources governance. And what I'm trying is, as I said before, to explain, to model the system, how it was, using system dynamics. And the other thing is to sometimes, not really coupling, but kind of benchmarking on how people, they take decisions on different scenarios. So I'm basically trying to not to merge them, but to keep like two different modeling and to see how they inform each other. Not coupling in the sense that input is the output of one model is the input of the next one, because this is already tried in the water sector, and this is keeping the models and to see how they inform each other. I think that this is more in terms of brain. You need to take more energy, but it's more challenging. But I think that is a way that I'm exploring.
Thank you very much for providing such valuable insights into your model.
Thank you to all of you, and I appreciate your time.